Initial research proposal for doctoral registration. Provisional title, thesis. Introduction, background. Briefly summarize current research literature in your area of study, 1 to 2 pages. Aim in research, questions, and rationale. Identify the overall aim and/or problem your research seeks to address. Identify the key research questions. Indicate why the proposed research is important. Research context and design. Identify the context of the proposed study, if applicable. Identify in general terms intended participants, e.g., 20 primary school teachers. Indicate the overall research approach. Data will be gathered, how the data will be gathered, and how the data will be analyzed. 1 to 2 pages. Timeline schedule. Between 3 to 4 years for full-time study, or 6 to 8 years for part-time study. List the major steps in the study and anticipated completion dates. Resources. Identify the resources that will be required, e.g., facilities, accounting, and travel.
Lost. I'm lost in words. Where do I begin? Qualitative, quantitative, subjective, objective, epistemology, ontology. What methodology? Empirical, theoretical, narrative, historical, paradigm and praxis, complexity and chaos. I'm at a loss. Interviews and questionnaires.
Critical inquiry.
Discourse analysis. Oh, indecisiveness. Help! Help!
Peter. Hi, it's Adrian here. Look, I want to study alternative education tutoring. Yeah. I was thinking of statistical regressions, triangulations, extrapolations, falsifications, effect sizes collating, and charts demonstrating computations of tutor effectiveness ratings. The arts. I digress. I must confess, I do possess lyrical finesse.
I must confess, I do possess lyrical finesse.
Laurel Richardson, the poems about Louisa May. Glesney, that rare feeling. Well, Katie Fitzpatrick, she's done it. Grant, Shapiro, Whitman, Furman, Prendergast, Barrett, Babakisba, Lego, vibrant voices in the social sciences, the International Symposium of Poetic Inquiry. Aha!
All the world's a stage, and men and women merely players, as you like it, William Shakespeare. Attending the International Drama and Education Symposiums at Auckland University, I discovered research-based theatre and ethnographic performance. To realise that data could be generated, mediated and disseminated through drama was like a light illuminating a darkened stage. Performative inquiry, the third paradigm. Qualitative, quantitative, performative! Talking about love is like dancing about architecture.
Have you ever had a dream, Neil, that you were so sure it was real?
A lot of people know more philosophy than they realize because philosophy is basically all about the culture that they live and breathe.
I can't imagine anybody not being interested in philosophy because the questions are so fantastic.
How do we know what we know? How can we be sure that what we think we know, we do know?
How the world as it appears to me in my experience, and I think my world as it is in itself beyond my experience.
Human consciousness. What is this thing?
Philosophy is very simply a world of people who are locked into their constructs. They are bought into systems of valuation in which one thing is good, another thing is bad, and we must do this, we must do that. And what defines the Superman is that he rejects all of those constructs.
Yeah. No one has ever done anything like this.
That's why it's so important.
Modernity is a progress, but we have to pay a heavy price for it. And the price that we pay for is modernity, is the separation of subject and object, right? The peasant in a village was not separated from the objective conditions of its existence. It was united with the objective condition. It was bound to the earth, right? Even the slaves were not separated from the objective conditions of their existence. They were treated as objects, right? There was no subject separated from the other. In the new materialism, truth is a practical question. I will talk about this in a minute. It means you have to bring, by human practice, subject and object together. You have to change the objective conditions of your life. That's, not a passive agent, not over-determination. Marx is always said as a determinist. No, as I would say, Marx's philosophy is a philosophy of praxis. Praxis, practical activity, is the key.
When I say that the struggle of awareness is central to the struggle of politics, What I'm really arguing is that the struggle of languages and the struggle of consciousness is what is central to schooling itself, and that is the struggle of agency.
Deep message. It's a very profound message, very progressive message. And still entertaining, amusing, unsettling, soothing, all the things that create our love.
Enacting, embodying, performing, interpreting my research.
That's so cool, Molly. You know, I've just been spending all my time chasing down these ancestors. It's a bit like, you know, chasing down ghosts. Spend my time rereading old stories, scrolling through census records, sitting in dusty corners of collection rooms and museums and libraries, haunted by my past.
Have you read Michael Walker's work on haunting your childhood? In learning to live between life and death, one must learn to talk with or about some ghost.
Dear, a restored speaking to ghosts as a respectable subject of inquiry. And so I began to play. I began to play with ideas. I began to play with words, to imagine, to listen, to unfold in conversations with you, with Derek and other ghosts I chose to summon up.
Poetic inquiry. Finding instances of poetic discourse in the everyday language of alternative education tutors, and the possibility of discovering a transformational pedagogy. What I find what Rosenthal contends is the poetic process that goes on in the minds of people who at least believe it.
You're their educator. You're their driver. You're their shoulder to cry on. You're their emotional punching bag. And the list goes on.
Alternative education is like Facebook. We post on each other's walls. Hard to pin her down. It's hard to keep her at school. She suddenly turned up in a pink blouse, the one who was into all the black arts.
A riptide on the shores of life, swim between the flags.
Found poetry became my found moment.
To facilitate and engage with drama practitioners around the world, embodying their stories through props, willing to suspend their disbelief and imagine a museum of educational drama and applied theatre. The red wool entwined around the chairs. Small, coloured, foam people semiotics of drama, voice, body, movement and space, symbol and metaphor deep in my data, and the monologues, inspired by Shakespeare's Henry V, a battle cry. Drama for children, all humanity! A methodology realised.
Practised methodology, a performed and performative process, artistry, improvisation and decomposition, found moments, lost moments and aha moments, creative crossovers and confluences between discursive research methods and creative practices, interweaving research, theory and practice. At the end of my research with applied theatre consultants here in Auckland, New Zealand, I take this photograph, a found moment, a moment when theory and practice came together. Spontaneously creating this web, we found for a moment a way to creatively and critically interrogate the economies of their practice.
That is so cool, Molly. You know, I found it was when I was using tography that I had some critically reflexive moments and these found moments, like this time I was making my wire pakeha and I created this poem that I called Wire. I was drawing out the wire. It was neatly bound like my grandma's yarn of wool. I was imagining how I was going to create this wire pakeha. I drew out the wire carefully, and then I remembered an ancestor who drew wire in Virgo land. An ancestor who used wire in Sheffield. An ancestor who manipulated wire in Auckland, New Zealand to make my papa's crib. And then I thought about number 8 wire. And my ancestor who won a bet in Christchurch, New Zealand, building fences. My mother's chicken wire, Chinese bantam, Rhode Island red. Oh, and I remember running a race through the paddocks, dodging the cowcats, smeared and Pascal and zap! My first electric fence.
Having found relatable and recognisable in art and outside the academy, I thought perhaps this might be a way to get in touch with my research methods themselves, perhaps thinking around metaphor, and so my research became a dance. Cumulative case study of 3 studies. The first, an established process drama, done many, many times, very popular, very clear rules, a waltz, if you will. The second, Management of the Expert, a popular form of process drama. Very cool, very acceptable, very funky, and again, very clear guidelines and rules. Kind of like hip-hop. The third, an unknown process drama. Unwritten as yet, guided by the principles of critical pedagogy. Who knows where it might lead? Problematic, philosophically difficult, a contemporary piece of dance. And all 3 would work together with me moving along within them as a researcher. Disrupting, partnering, clashing together, colliding. Who knows what we might find as I move through as the choreographer. I'm on the edge!
Nobody's done this before.
I'll help you.
It's a long